Well, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. And of course, with the light, that's not the greatest light that we've got there. But this will be a work in progress, and hopefully it will get better every week. Actually, this isn't bad. You can at least hear me, and I want you to be able to see the dogs and the chickens behind me. Anyway, I'm Catherine Gordon. This is Sugar Freedom. I created this channel, in all honesty, to help me stay off of sugar, because when I share my struggles with sugar and compulsion, it actually gets easier for me to stick to my commitment to get off of sugar. And getting off of sugar has led me to getting off of glucose, and then getting off of glucose led me to the carnivore diet. So I'm making a commitment to do these Monday meetings or these Monday chats for the next year. Why not? Let's go big, just because it really helps me, and I hope that it helps you. Many more people have gone carnivore. Many more people are carnivore curious. And so I really feel like sharing these stories might be helpful. I know it helps me. I hope it helps you. So every week I want to do a book and a study, and then just talk about the carnivore lifestyle. So book of the day is Not by Bread Alone by Steffansson. Amazing book, really, really helpful to me when I went carnivore back in 2018. I started carnivore because I did, Sean Baker's March Meatness. I've got my Australian Shepherds here, so they were getting into the treats, keto treats. Hugely helpful. So if you're curious about carnivore, or maybe you've already gone carnivore and you want to know more about the history, and you want to know about two guys who ate meat only for a year and that it was documented and what their experience was like, I highly recommend this book. You can't go wrong. What do they call it? The All Meat Diet Classic. And on the back, they call it the Breakthrough Book on Staying Healthy, Eating Only Meat. Good morning. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Patty. And yeah, and also the chickens, because I want you to see the chickens behind me and the dogs. So what? My face is in shadow, but you can see the yard. So the next thing I want to talk about is very important, is I'm going to be sharing a study every week. Groundbreaking study. This study is the one that they did. There's over 1,000 people, and it is a study on self-reporting on the carnivore diet. Now, of course, this is a self-reported study, so it's people writing down what they did and how they felt. But it's got some really important information. I'm going to share a little bit of it today. I am going to put the link to the study in the notes of this video, and I really hope that you will read it. It's very clear, it's very straightforward, easy to read. But the most important thing I want to share with you today were the reported changes in health status. And it's a lovely little printout I've got here. And I'm going to go from number 9 to number 1. There's 10, and number 10 is overall improvement in health, and I'm going to give that to you right now. 95% of the over 2,000 people who did the carnivore study, 95% reported improvement in their overall health. So let's start at the bottom. Number 9 was memory, and for memory we had 66% of participants with improvement in memory. And I'm just going to go right through them. Number 9 was memory. A few more people had improvements in sleep. Number 7 was chronic disease. And I think when we're talking about chronic disease, certainly we're talking about diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Many people, there were many type 2 diabetics in the study, a couple of type 1s, and found improvement. Please, read this study and see how it affected them. Number 6, endurance. And this is something that I have always struggled with. Do you guys remember having to do the mile when you were in middle school, when you were in junior high? Really struggled with the mile. I remember I was the kid who was always coming in last, even though I was trying. So my endurance has never been good. I've always been a little bit more of a sprinter. Doing intervals is better, but improvements in endurance, definitely something that I was looking for. Number 5, strength. And it's true. One of the best ways I test my strength is with my push-ups. I could never do a full push-ups until I was in my 40s. I finally learned how. And then over time, I'm 58 now, I started to lose that ability. And now when I'm going carnivore, I'm finding that my push-ups are coming back. Still can't do very many, 3, 4, 5. And then I have to switch to either kneeling or elevated push-ups, but they are getting better. 4, focus. Absolutely. The ability to stick with something, to focus on something. One of the big things in focus that I think is really important is the ability to listen to other people, the ability to be in a conversation and listen to what people are saying. So focus is very important. Number 3 is mental clarity. And it's like, well, wait a minute, isn't that the same? But I do think that mental clarity is a little bit different. Focus is kind of internal, external. Mental clarity would be kind of internal. So mental clarity is next. Number 2, huge, is energy. And I think one of the things that I found, especially after going through COVID, coming back from COVID, definitely finding myself, not that I know that I have it, I don't know, went through some things like we all did, but I never had a test that said I had it. But I do know that over the past year, I've been noticing a real need to try to get some of my energy, endurance, and stamina back. And I do believe that it is coming back. Number one, most important, it's the reason I went carnivore, it's the reason I went sugar-free. Number 1 is hunger and food cravings. 91% of the participants in this study found an easing and improvement in their hunger and their food cravings. That's a lot of people, over 2,000 people, and you just can't beat it, because really the reason I stay carnivore, because I've experimented with adding some foods back, the reason I go back and the reason I stay carnivore is that the hunger, the food cravings, the obsessive thoughts about food just simply go away. All right, the next subject that I want to talk to you about is backyard chickens. One of the things I noticed when I went carnivore, which I thought was kind of interesting, I hope you do too, is this understanding of how important animal foods were going to be to my survival and how important they must be to everybody on the planet. Personally, I need animal foods. I eat meat, I eat eggs, I do eat full-fat dairy, I eat cream, I eat some cheeses, and then sometimes I will also eat some fish and some poultry and some pork. But it makes me realize that, wow, I really need these animal foods for my well-being and for my survival. What can I do to find a good way to produce those foods for myself? And so we decided to go ahead and get backyard chickens. Now you might notice my Australian shepherds running around behind me. There's Dimitri maybe coming into view. But the biggest challenge I had, there's Callie. She's up on the table right there. Can you see her? So I have these 3 Australian shepherds. And so what am I going to do? How am I going to have my backyard chickens? You can probably see behind me we have a 6-foot chain link fence around the developed part of our property. Our property dips down to a creek, well, a seasonal creek. It's dry right now, but what we have that we actually use that's cleared is surrounded by a chain link fence. So I'm like, yay, I can have free range chickens, correct? Well, the problem is if you send chickens out with boisterous Australian shepherds, you might not have chickens for very long. So Dimitri loves to guard and protect the chickens. Callie likes to play with and herd the chickens, and Natasha would probably eat the chickens. She's got a pretty strong prey drive. So what we did is we got a 10 by 10 canine enclosure, and we actually put the enclosure around the chicken coop. So instead of the enclosure keeping the dogs in, it keeps the dogs out. And I've started a really wonderful routine that I absolutely love. In the morning, we all come out, I feed the chickens, I make sure the coop is clean, I change their water, and then the dogs get to play, the dogs get to eat, and then I put the dogs back in the house and the chickens come out of their run. And they're doing really, really well. They like to wander around the yard. They love to eat bugs. They love to eat some of the weed grasses that are still in the yard. There's an excuse to leave a couple of weeds around, and they just really seem happy and healthy. We got 4. You can kind of see the coop behind me. It says that you can have a maximum of 6 chickens in that coop, but we went ahead and got 4 to give them more room. We've also got 4 people living in the house, and the rule of thumb is 1 chicken for every person who is going to be eating eggs, so we should be getting enough eggs. They are a Leghorn and Rhode Island Red cross. The Leghorn is a super duper egg producer. The Rhode Island Red has a great disposition. So what we've got in this cross is we've got really good disposition and we've got good egg production. So we've had them 3 weeks as of last Saturday. They are friendly. They are a friendly hen. They've really started to trust me and my son and his girlfriend. They come out for my husband. One of them will eat a little chicken scratch out of my hand. She's the leader. I call her Layla, and the other ones are a little bit shy. And so there's Layla and Henrietta that are a little bit more bold, and then there are the two other hens that are a little bit more quiet and a little bit more timid, but they do really well together. When do they start producing eggs? Well, here's the deal. We didn't feel like we had the expertise to raise chicks. I'd been around and I'd cared for hens before, but I'd never cared for chicks. So we decided to get juvenile hens. And so they're pullets, obviously. They know they're female. They've been tested. We got them from Hearst Ranch in Jamestown, and you go and you get them before they're producing eggs. So they're not producing eggs yet, but they should maybe in about the next 2 weeks. And I look forward to, on these chats, to showing you the eggs that they produce and talk about backyard chickens. Another benefit of backyard chickens, chicken manure, one of the best compost developers, one of the best fertilizers you can have. So they have shavings is their bedding down below, and then up in their loft where they sleep and where they roost, we have straw. And so what I do is I just save and I clean out the straw and the chicken manure, and then add it to the compost pile, which then we can use on our flowers and our roses. And I am the only full carnivore in the house. My son and my husband and my son's girlfriend, they all eat a mixed diet, although my husband is a little bit more meat-based than they are. And so we do grow some vegetables, and so we've got the nice fertilizer for that. So the chickens, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. We have our book of the week, we have our study of the week, and updating how the chickens are doing. Oh, a little bit on fitness, getting that muscle mass back. I am doing back in the gym, doing some interval training, doing some weightlifting, and then also hanging from a bar, getting stronger, improving my grip strength, and I'll let you know how that goes. I've been hanging from a bar every day, trying to work up to a minute. I can kind of hold on for 30 seconds, and I am finding more strength in my upper body. I am getting more push-ups out of it, and so I'll let you know how that goes. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be coming back pretty much 7 o'clock Pacific time every Monday. Sometimes I will be outdoors. If the weather is bad, I will go ahead and go inside in the office, and go ahead and bring me questions if you can. And as always, eat for yourself, be well, and come back and find out more about living sugar-free and living plant-free for right now. All right, have a wonderful week, everybody. I'll see you soon.